You're not lazy. You're just unprepared. There's nothing wrong with your ability to work. You just don't know what to do next. So you're not lazy. You're just misinformed. You're missing steps. Writing a book is not a step. Making dinner is not a step. Doing a presentation for work is not a step. So in this video, I'm going to try to explain some concepts that will hopefully help you understand that the end goal is not the plan. So walk with me. We usually make these vague, grandiose plans without an idea, without a roadmap of how to get there. And we tend to think that we can improvise as we go. And the ability to be flexible and to be able to adapt to new situations is extremely important if you're learning something new or if you're trying to create a habit. However, that doesn't mean that improvising is going to help you get to where you want to go. You need a plan, you need steps, you need a roadmap. Because our brains tend to associate the goal with the actual tasks that we need to do. And in my experience, this happens because there are certain things out there that our brain can engage with automatically, easy things that we can just do. Like, for example, if you want to read a book, if you enjoy reading books and you want to read a book, your thought process is, I would like to read a book. So you get up, you go to the shelf, you grab a book, you sit down, and you read your book, right? Now let's rewind that and listen to what I just said, because those are the steps that your brain takes automatically. So you get up, you go to the shelf, you grab a book, you sit down, and you read your book. Right? So when there's an activity that you do often enough, your brain already has the ability to get on the task, perform the task, and then get off the task almost automatically. And there is a disconnect between what we think is a skill issue and what's actually just automatic mode. It's not that you can't sit down and write your novel. It's not that you can't get up and make dinner. It's not that you can't sit down and do the work that you've been assigned. It's just that as a habit, your brain goes, I need to do one thing, and you forget to add the rest of the tasks that go along that one thing, the rest of the things you need to accomplish to finish the task. So in your mind, you've given yourself one thing, one job you have to do, one thing to complete. But in the back of your mind, your brain is going, wait, hold on, we need to finish like 15 other things before we can even get started. So the key takeaway here is that you need clarity. You need to give yourself enough clarity so that the task is crystal clear, and that way your ability to get to work is going to be unlocked. So number one is roadmaps. One of the techniques that I use for these roadmaps is that I take the end goal and I ask questions as to whether it's finished or not. Now, I have a full video explaining roadmaps and I'll link that at the end of this video, but let me explain it to you real quick. So essentially what you want to do is write by hand, because notebooks, man, who knew? But you write by hand every single step you need to complete from beginning to end. And you ask yourself questions along the way. And the most important question is, can this be published? If the answer is yes, then congratulations, you've discovered all the tasks. If the answer is no, however, then you need to keep asking yourself questions until you get there. So for example, if I need to do a presentation for work, then I need to start asking questions in order for me to finish the presentation. One of the questions would be like, can I present this? And that's going to be a no. But then the next question might be, do I have a topic? Well, if I do have a topic, then yes, I move on to the next question. And the next question is, do I know enough about this topic, or do I need to do some research? Because if you do know enough about this topic, then the next task might be write slide. But if you don't know enough about the topic, the next task might be do research and then write slide. And do research is an entirely different task altogether. That's going to be like, talk to an expert, delve on Wikipedia, or make some shit up. And then another task might be find pictures to make the presentation interesting. And if you do, then you add a little side note next to it that says, GIFs are not as funny as you think they are. And you underline that, please. And I'll keep working backwards with these tasks and asking myself questions until I get to the first task, which is usually get off the couch. And I do recommend that you get into the habit of writing these tasks down, because that's going to help with visualizing and encapsulating these tasks into manageable bits of work. And when you have issues prioritizing tasks, then looking at them and being able to visualize them helps a lot. And the good thing about this technique is that you usually only have to do this once, because the next time you try to do this task, you're going to be less surprised about the things that you have to accomplish. So yeah, sometimes you want to do stuff like, I don't know, I want to write a novel, and you can't get off the couch because you forgot to think of or write down the task of, get off the couch, man. And that's terrible for several reasons, but mainly because your brain is going to start associating the didn't write today with this dude sucks. And that's not healthy. That's not helpful. You need to be kinder to yourself. You wanted to do a thing, you just didn't write all the steps to get there, and your brain knows it, and your brain collapses you and weighs you down because of that. So make roadmaps, write down tasks, every tiny little task that you can think of, and get into the habit of doing that for everything that you think you have problems starting. Number 2, pace yourself. We tend to be very hard on ourselves regarding how hard we work or how much work we do. See, sometimes people like us, creatives with social anxiety, great boobs, and perfect opinions, we tend to compare ourselves with people who work all the time, people who are productive every day of the week. Which, don't exist, but we are great at creating impossible standards that we can't achieve so that we can continue beating ourselves up. So by comparing ourselves to imaginary people who give 100% at all hours during work, we are setting ourselves up for failure because we're comparing ourselves against an impossible standard. Work, creative work, much like life, is a marathon and not a sprint. And exactly like a marathon, if you give 100% of your energy the whole time, you're gonna burn out, and you're gonna burn out fast. You need to find the proper pace for you to work under. And I know that I've made this mistake sometimes where there is one day where I am incredibly effective and incredibly productive, and I am able to do so many things and so fast that the next day my brain goes like, well, we did it once, why can't we do it again? And that sends me into a spiral of self-hate that is very hard to get out of. We need to find a functional pace to be able to work, and more often than not, that means having to slow down. See, for example, for me to be able to push a video each week, I have a structure. So one day is scripting, the next day is going to be, shooting, and the next day is going to be editing, and the next day it's going to be adding labels or whatever, or music. And I know I've been able to do like editing and shooting on one day, or being able to edit the entire video in one day. So I know that I can. If I give 100% of my energy, I know I can do it in a day. But that is going to cause me to burn out completely in a few weeks. It's not sustainable. So for now, I try to work with some peace of mind, knowing that all I have to accomplish on a given day is the task I've set for that day. I know I can probably do 2 tasks, but that is only going to serve to pander to my ego, to convince me that I can do this and that I am, in fact, lazy all the other times. And again, that's not helpful. So make your roadmap and then walk through it at a pace that you can actually sustain. And it's going to take time, and it's going to take some trial and error for you to find what that pace actually is. But keep at it, keep trying to find it, and remember that if things don't work out, if you don't finish the thing you set out to do today, if it doesn't fully gel, then you can always try again tomorrow. Tomorrow is as good a day as any. Number 3, your perfectionism is crippling you. You know it is. Very likely part of what's blocking you from working on your project is that you don't think it's going to be good enough. And I'm here to tell you, yeah, it won't. It's going to suck, and it needs to suck. Because see, the good stuff that you can produce is buried under a layer of bad to mediocre stuff right on top of it. And you're not going to be able to get to the good stuff until you push the bad stuff out first. Because we agree that there's art that works and art that doesn't, and you have both of those inside you. So in order to get to the good art, you have to push out the bad art first. And you can only do that by doing. And that's the key. The doing alone is going to unblock you. Here's why. So the script that I am reading off right now, this is my third attempt at writing it because the first attempt sucked. The second attempt was a little rambly. Third attempt, that might actually work. But I couldn't have gotten to this third attempt if I didn't work on the first one, knowing that if that one sucked, it's fine. Because even if, and it will, it's not much of an if, but even if it sucks, now you have the ability to ask yourself, why? Why did it suck? What am I missing? Can somebody else come in and help me take a look at it to find what I'm not seeing? Everything you try adds to your knowledge and opens up questions that can be answered. If you do nothing, if you have nothing, then you have no questions. If you have no questions, then buddy, you have no answers. And you need answers to get stuff done. So yeah, the first draft of this script for this video did not work out at all. So I sat down and I asked myself why. And I wrote down like the talking points that I wanted to go through. And I watched a YouTube on how to improve a YouTube video. And I watched a YouTube video on how to improve scripts. And I worked on the second draft, which was a little better. It was an improvement. And then I gave it another go, finished the third draft that I feel accomplishes what I wanted to do, which is to get this message out as clearly as possible. But I wouldn't have had this final script if I didn't sit down to write the first one, accepting that it would suck. Knowing that my first attempt will suck is not failure. It's a necessary step to get to where I want to go. So those are 3 things that you might want to try to unlock your creativity and your executive function. Let me recap all this for you. Learn these 3 exercises for whenever you have a project that you want to do or you need to get work done. Number 1, make a clear and detailed roadmap of every single step you need to take to complete the task. Number 2, remember to pace yourself. Consistency is more productive than speed. 3, understand that making something mediocre is a critical step to making something good and not a detour. Calling yourself lazy is incredibly unhelpful, and somebody told you this about yourself years ago, so now when you open your mouth, they come out instead. And it's not true. You're not lazy. You just work in a different way than other people. You need to find the literal next step in your roadmap and the speed that you're comfortable working on. And it's really hard to do that when the rest of the world is screaming at you to go faster or be left behind. But hey, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but sometimes I would rather be in the back because the people around me, they're the ones who stopped and smelled the roses. And who can say no to roses? Anyway, I love reading comments on my videos, so if you could just drop a few words, it would mean the world to me. And if you're one of those people who leaves comments on every video, welcome back. I miss you all week. Glad to see you again. Now get out there and make some art. The world needs you.